I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dave texted me this morning and said that he was going to join us via Zoom, so said he was on the road. There he is, right there. Big D.
The big D.
Big D. So you've all had a chance to review the agenda for today's meeting. Any additions, corrections, or conflicts of interest?
I have none.
If not, the agenda will stand approved as printed. We'll move on to the reading of the minutes.
Way back on July 14th. July 14th, 2026, the Board of Supervisors met at 9 a.m. with Craig Dozark, Chair presiding. Members present were Schultz, Mulbauer, Dozark, Hayden, and Rosberg. Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. On motion, the board recognized claims for public health and approved claims for all other departments. The board approved the clerk of court fees for June 2026 and the recorder's office quarterly report for April through June of 2026. The board approved hiring Pearl Coons, part-time jailer, sheriff's office. Zach Rasmussen, emergency management, had a discussion with the board about T-Mobile's changes. No action was taken at this time. A motion was made by Hayden, seconded by Mulbauer, to approve the alcohol license application for Rome and Revel LLC for the market at the farm. Motion passed unanimously. Motion was made by Mulbauer, seconded by Schultz, to approve the following resolution: 2026-30, amendment to resolution 2026-11. Whereas the Crawford County Compensation Board meets annually to recommend a compensation schedule for elected officials for the fiscal year immediately following, in accordance with Iowa Code chapters 331.905 and 331.907. And whereas the Crawford County Compensation Board met December 29, 2025, made the following salary recommendations for the following elected officials for fiscal year beginning July 1 of 2026. Elected official, supervisor, current salary $34,281.29, proposed increase $7,600, recommended salary $41,881.29, chair to receive a stipend of $750 total. Therefore, be it resolved that the Crawford County Board of Supervisors approves amending the chair stipend for the fiscal year beginning July 1 of 2026 with the approved salary for the Board of Supervisors, each receiving $34,281.29 and a zero increase, and the chair to receive a stipend of $1,250. Voting aye: Schultz, Mulbauer, Dozark, Hayden, and Rosberg. Motion passed unanimously. Karen Call, clerk of court, had a discussion with the board about the disposition of files currently stored at 38 North Main Street, Denison. No action was taken at this time. The board discussed the tax abatement policy for commercial urban revitalization area with Paul Overton, assessor. No action was taken at this time. The board discussed tax abatement policy for residential revitalization area with Paul Overton, assessor. No action was taken at this time. At 11:17 a.m., motion was made by Hayden, seconded by Schultz, to open both closed sessions per Iowa Code 21.5, subsection 1, subsection C, pending or imminent litigation, which allows for closed session. Motion passed unanimously. At 11:39 a.m., a motion was made by Mulbauer, seconded by Rosberg, to close both closed sessions. Motion passed unanimously. On motion, duly seconded, the board adjourned at 11:40 a.m. Agendas for the next meeting are posted and available at the courthouse on Friday, 4:30 p.m. preceding the next meeting.
Thank you, Terry.
You bet.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, they'll stand approved as read. Before we move on to supervisor reports, I did just text Ryan. Ryan's gonna stop up. We had a question on the claims on something, and so we're just gonna ask Ryan about that.
What that actually
Quickly.
is the
What is it?
sheriff's department, 149,000.
Just a quick question, I guess, on the claims. There was contracted IT for 149,000. Is that, we were just trying to discuss that through the,
What department was it?
I think it's the sheriff, what you showed me.
is it through the sheriff? Do you know? Do you even know what that is?
Contracted ID through the sheriff?
Or
I
the
don't know anything.
county attorney?
Or is that,
I just took over the county attorney. I would assume the attorney part of this was maybe the IT.
I was gonna say that.
you might, I just questioned it because,
The
My-
sheriff, I know part of that would be ACS because they do their door
Yeah.
controls and cameras. And I'm sure it's.
Is that what it was for, is for our doors, maybe?
Yeah, so well, speaking of
so
that,
that's all in that same,
yeah, so like our contracted IT is like our Tyler maintenance.
okay,
You know, it'll be like the door stuff here with ACS that they're doing right now. I mean, that's all.
Do we pay that annually or do we pay that?
Tyler?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
a big.
figure that out.
That
Terry,
one
that's
time,
not
No,
bad.
every year. Well, there's the big one right now in July and 90-ish.
Oh,
And
that
then
was
there's
his-
one in
That's
like June, that's
That was
for
his
the other
department?
department, the content management, that's 20-some thousand. Like,
So that contracted IT for 149,000 might have been the Tyler
That would be
bill
90.
for 90 of it.
so, okay, so this one, if you're talking IT, yes,
So it
I did
was.
have two big ones.
Schneider.
I had Schneider and I had Tyler this month. If it
Okay,
was for the sheriff, I don't know, yes, I did have Tyler and
It
Schneider.
was anything in the
Yeah,
sheriff's.
the beacon
okay,
stuff.
I don't know where you got
So
that.
that would be around 150,
guessing.
those two. this month.
Department
Oh,
55.
It was 149.
I didn't see it, the sheriff,
that's why I
I said, I'll
questioned it,
look.
because I didn't know exactly
Yeah,
how.
so that would have been mine,
That's
this one,
what
that's what those
I
two were.
Okay.
So it's just,
Probably was some.
That Tyler.
911 deals.
It is very expensive, that's why they're doing competing bids right now with two other companies. And the one, Eco, I think, is saying they will be a fraction of the cost of the year, or like 30 to 40 is what they're shooting for.
So you say Tyler is bidding out?
No,
No,
so ISAC,
I said.
with the disgruntledness of a lot of the counties with Tyler,
Okay.
started to put out a bid and said, you know, anybody that wants to bid for the Iowa business. They had 5 come back, they interviewed 3 of them. It was Tyler, Rico, and I don't remember the other one, 'cause the other one dropped off eventually. I'm almost certain it's Rico, I could be wrong on that name. But they are building one for Iowa. They have some other states now, but they're building one specifically for Iowa, and that's supposed to be ready in like the next year or 2. And then, again, they are promising.
Our offices meet, or will we throw you?
But again, it would be a huge change to go with Tyler. But now Tyler is also,
Tyler.
It's a county by county decision. I
yeah, it's a
believe.
county by county decision. Tyler is one of the 2 rebidding right now, so they might have to try to get their annual fees down, you know, to be able to keep a lot of these county businesses, because they have gotten out of hand with it. So,
Okay, thanks.
so yeah, that 150 though, that's one fee, that's what's.
that did jump out, and I was trying to dissect
Almost,
and see,
yeah, almost all of
a
our-
combination of
No,
yours
but it's
and
pretty
contracted.
pretty
with-
close.
So I mean,
She knows how to look at
pretty
the
interact
apartments.
Yeah.
amongst the state.
Yep, so
Easier
okay.
to
For some reason, but I just, that's all I've seen. Well, I was when I looked at last
Yeah,
time, I
I
didn't
think they
remember
would-
seeing it, the
I don't
sheriff.
think they would.
Yeah, I
No, yeah, that would've been mine.
Okay,
For those.
Well, you forget about that contract. If you see contracted IT, you
Because
think
that's
that,
where Tyler.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you're hiring
But they're
Corey to
through
come
the
up. You
same-
pay
Yeah,
Corey
that's just the line item.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Retired.
All right, thank you.
We have-
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.
We only come on
Transition,
Tuesdays.
those gaps filled. They go through the same shit.
Jump in. I looked at that at home and I couldn't go back.
I'm not forward changing, that's for
All right.
sure.
So we'll move on to supervisor reports. Kyle.
Well, thinking back, clear back to the 14th when we met last. I think the 15th, you and I were. across
That's on the
street.
agenda
That's on the
later.
agenda, so we'll talk about that later. I think I went to a meeting in Cherokee in that time. I know I did, so I had a Cherokee meeting and I left all them papers at home.
Okay.
For that. Otherwise, last week was pretty bombarded with the fair, starting on Tuesday. which I don't know who dialed the weather in for that,
It was-
but, you know,
Tuesday was awesome.
It was
the
awesome.
whole week was, fair week was awesome.
Friday was good.
Other than Saturday, which I think maybe the tractor pull people dialed that heat up a little bit, so the concession stand would be frequented more by those that attend.
At least for cold beverage.
Yes, for cold beverage, because that all figures into their profit, so I mean,
I don't think it hurt the crowd.
Not really.
No.
no, I thought it was just the whole fair, the
It
carnival back and everything, it was great time to get out and meet, met with a lot of people out there, you know.
Wish I'd
Like
pre-bought
when you go to the
tickets.
fair with me or much. So it's a very one-sided deal, huh? You know. About data center talk. You know, that's a lot of people, you're gonna be at the fair talking about data centers.
Yes.
You know, we're just trying to get an ordinance in place.
Ready.
Not paying attention.
I'm sure, I know I'm forgetting a bunch of stuff.
You can always jump in if something jogs your memory.
So I've been working on, give you all just a copy of the budget amendment policy.
Yeah, you and AI get along very well.
Well, you know that it's able to take what, you know, is going on in my mind and spit it back out in a form
That is understandable.
that understandable. So, I think if you use AI for the right reasons, it's very beneficial. But
Working for you.
we can discuss that. I don't, a little bit on there now, but I think we need to get it on the agenda for further discussion. The budget amendment policy or procedures or however you want to call it. And not to penalize anybody, but just to provide that transparency that I get posed to me a lot out in the public. Is we need to be more transparent with what we do.
No, I think it's good that you have, I guess, went through the process and always had Colin involved. So at least Colin can look at what,
Yeah, I
you
think
know,
that's
what you
key.
got down there and give back inputs. Because we need that. We have to have that.
Especially when you're trying to put a policy together that can be superseded by Iowa code in
Right.
certain aspects of it, so. Right. So you have to take that all into consideration. Yeah, I've got that working, I've got, you know, Gene's got a copy of a take-home vehicle policy that maybe, I know what, I think I sent that to you and Amy. Because from what I've gathered, researching that, the IRS requires a written policy that we have in place. What I read, I could have read it
We
wrong.
do have
We do
an
have,
semblance of, we don't have an extent of that kind of, I mean, we don't have 17-page policy. But,
sometimes you gotta dial it in. I mean, I start spending, all this could be 100-page policy, I'm like, no, it don't,
Right.
it needs to be.
because some of that's gonna require participation of department heads and elected officials to manage that within their departments
Yeah.
too.
I agree,
Yeah,
I agree.
I would.
because we already attempt to disseminate the IRS requirement because it's a taxable benefit
It is.
to take a county vehicle home. It's a taxable benefit. It's a very minimal taxable benefit.
It is
But it's still taxable and
like $1.50 a day,
$1.50
$3.
round one way.
one way.
Yeah, round trip, $3 a day.
That's the standard IRS.
Yes.
At this time, do we have any of our department heads or people that we deduct that out of their payroll or add it as?
It gets actually added on to their W-2s at the end of the year.
And we do have some that have that.
Yeah.
You know,
Things we don't
yeah,
know.
that $3 a day if with current mileage rate of is it 75 or 76?
76 cents.
76 cents.
Yeah, it just went up.
Yeah.
July
I mean,
1st.
you live more than 2 miles away, your benefit for just taking a flat IRS rate, so. Yeah.
I think it's a good time for the review part of it, though. You know, as far as emergency response, how many times in the last 12 months did you have to use that
And
vehicle?
those are IRS.
Yeah.
Right.
Some of that's IRS.
Right, are some of them necessitated? Are they really a necessity?
I think
That's
it's
how
time.
you take home
I-
a vehicle from the county.
I think sometimes it falls in
Is
the
it-
category of that's the way we've always done it.
Yep.
And it just isn't the way.
That's why I think it's key that there's a grace period there. If we do adopt this, then, you know, gives them 6 months to make other arrangements or whatever, so.
Yep.
Right. Well, we've had a lot of department head transition,
Yes, we have.
so it's just re-educating people and getting everybody on the same playing field, so.
For me, when we're buying a new vehicle for a department and it has 200 and some thousand miles on it, and you really question, where's it going for 200,000 miles if, you know, their job, you have to question that. It's
Yep.
time to
Right.
reevaluate.
Well, we'll put it on the agenda and have
Yeah.
further discussion on it
Yep.
in the future.
Could I email everybody a little copy of that?
You want
Anything else, Kyle?
copies for you.
Not that I know of at this.
Okay.
I'll think about it.
Dave, are you available out there? Are you driving or at an event, or looks like you're available? You have
Hey,
anything?
good morning. Yeah, good morning, guys. Just on my way. Actually, I'm in Des Moines, headed to Dubuque. I'm going around for a local roundtable type tour to speak with local governments. But Ty talked to Barry Anderson. He said it was a very good trip you guys went on. He said he tried giving you a hard time, but you give it right back.
Yeah.
But I did go to the memorial wall, the Vietnam Wall, the hills, and helped set up. That was quite an experience. They explained everything. There's quite a group of volunteers to help set it up. Great attendance there for the wall, but it was almost a very humbling experience for anybody that went to visit the wall. Even like when we set it up, they explained they had a lot of farmer volunteers. They said you have to remove your pliers, your pocket knife, any jewelry. We wore gloves to carry the slates with things on them. But they are very, very well organized, and it was a pretty neat deal that was in our area. The other thing I did get, Jim Mulbauer reached out to me. He was concerned. He camps quite a bit at Yellow Smoke, and he was concerned with some of the recent thefts that have been happening around Yellow Smoke and the Vale area in Denison. But otherwise, that was about my week.
I talked with some of the members of the conservation board, and they are trying, I'm not gonna say 100%, but they're putting a lot of effort into trying to corral the thieving going on out there. But I know law enforcement's been out there watching. I don't know, we gotta catch them in the act, otherwise it's almost impossible to do anything more than that with them. But they are actively seeking to figure that out, Dave. So.
All you can do.
That's kind of what I told Jim, is that be working on it, and yeah, you got to catch them.
Anything else, Dave?
Oh, that'd be about it.
I wonder if we put some kind of security system up. I mean, you don't want to video people camping. But if they like in and out the gate or something, maybe a surveillance system that way. I don't know. I hate that, but like you said, we got to be able to catch them in the act. I don't know. That's my.
I would think you'd be all right. I mean, that's probably a legal thing too, but yeah, I think a good surveillance camera in the entrance of the parks would be
or any other place that people might be entering. I mean, if they're hauling away stuff, they gotta be doing it in a vehicle, you would think.
One would think.
So you need to join the army if they can backpack there.
We used to train out there and carry litters all around that place. It's a rough train.
So you think they're driving in, stealing and driving out, not just staying there for the weekend, stealing while they're there and then just nonchalantly
I think it's people
To-
just passing through.
passing through?
Yeah, generally campers don't bother other people's
No,
campers.
I agree.
I mean, as a rule, that's a pretty safe community. It's somebody coming through, you know, you hear people like up at Lakeview and they have a big shindig up there. You'll see people walking through the campground that aren't in the campground.
Right.
And they're eyeballing people's stuff, you know. But just want everybody, these are coolers out there, full of brew or what food, camp,
Grill.
real nice grills will be sitting right next to the campers, but nobody bothers anybody's
No.
stuff unless they're not from that community.
Right.
That's,
It's been that way at every NASCAR race I get to.
yeah, nobody bothers.
Nobody bothers, nobody.
In fact, if somebody sit parked next to you, they don't need to know you, but if they recognize that somebody, you don't belong there.
Right.
You start touching, you might lose a finger.
Kind of like motorcycles, you can leave your leather
Right.
coat on your motorcycle and nobody.
So, I mean, are they coming in golf carts down the walking path? And
Awesome.
you never know.
It would just take one camper to have, you know, ring doorbell kind of a situation to just catch that
Because
person.
everybody knows who camps out there.
Oh,
Like, I
absolutely.
remember Stu laughing about it, though. The internet out there ain't very good, so a lot of the surveillance stuff is hit and miss
Yeah,
at different places throughout there, so.
I'm sure at a conservation board meeting, you guys will discuss that as far as the cameras at the entrance or.
Yeah, and
I did ask Chris about it out there in the fairgrounds. He said we're working on it. He said, well, it sounded like they were working with Roger. So.
Yep.
Gene,
busy week. Fair, I think I went 3 times a day, every day, just because it was something to do and the weather was so amazing that you just didn't mind sitting. In fact, never did I think I would say I was cold at the fair. But on, it was Wednesday morning, we did senior citizen bingo. And usually it's just this crowd of, you know, elderlies coming from the nursing homes and they had blankets, wrapped in blankets because it was so chilly that morning. But Woodco is a big sponsor of that and they bought a new bingo setup that's just, none of them roll on the ground anymore. None of them have a magic marker that can't tell us 6 from 8. So it was very enjoyable. Good time, and then we, you know, worked at the booth several nights in a row, and the amount of people waiting in line to get food, I kept waiting for a good time to go and get myself a made right. Never a good
The line
time.
won't get shorter.
Yeah, it never gets
That's so
shorter.
late.
I
And then you're not hungry.
I bought food at every single stand and it was a great time at the fair, I think. But on top of that, then we had a public health meeting on Monday. And I do have the agenda for that. I am really pleased with the way public health has kind of, she's organized her framework a little bit so it's more understandable for the board what their mission is and each line on the agenda, what the goal is. She just really presents a good, understandable meeting. They're very pleased with the way their finances go and the amount of money they were able to put in their fund. The board's happy with that. They do want an outside area for the staff to possibly get outside and have lunch or something. So we kind of looked at that. We have to make sure that where they would put chairs wouldn't be a hazard for if there was a fire or whatever. I understand the need, especially with their line of work, wanting to be outside to have a break. So kind of looking into that a little bit. We were going to see if we could maybe get a donation from one of our industries here that make the concrete picnic tables. We just don't really have a great place to put it.
really no good place.
There really isn't
So
that bad.
tight and ready with all the
is there
parking.
just on the west side, is that?
They were kind of, that seemed like a feasible place, maybe
By the air
just,
conditioners?
yeah. And you look into that person's backyard.
Yeah, I don't know.
It would
There's only like
That's the only place I can think of.
6 foot.
kind
You
of
need
want
to
the,
check where the property lines are.
well, we're gonna stay, we kind of think have figured that out from all of our concrete work and that. But as you come around that corner to the parking lot, possibly there could be an area, but we're
Oh,
kind of
yeah, there
working on just, we're talking maybe 4 employees at a time that could just come out and get some fresh air and have a break. So I think getting some fresh air is a good thing. So,
Benefits.
yep, we're working on that a little bit.
Well,
but
what they used to do at the old building, if it's such a concern now, I mean, was there a place in the annex that they could go?
I don't know if they sat in the alley, I don't know. Maybe it's just something that, because we've had such fabulous weather, they
It
just,
doesn't cost tax dollars.
I hear you. Yep. Yeah, well, it's not in our budget for anything like that, so it would have to be. But if you bring a lawn chair from home and set it out, in the parking lot, I think those things could be doable too. But I just thought it was good that they brought that up. Also had an early childhood meeting. It just seems to one door opens and another one closes, or one closes and one opens. They're working through everything, but what they kind of are trying to do is that board needs to be balanced with a church member, someone from the banking industry. They don't want it to all be supervisors, and so we all fit.
You still have the 2 representatives from Crawford County.
Yes.
Right, they're still on there.
Then we have the executive board that, so we're trying to decide if it's okay if you are a supervisor, but you happen to also be a member of a church, or you're a banker, that you're dual role. And so they're gonna kind of do some checking on that, because as supervisors, you need to, similar to what happened on mental health, they had to have and so there were only a few supervisors that could still stay on it. But I'll pass around some of the thoughts if anybody wants that. I don't know if they could make this any smaller, and I don't think I used a magnifying glass to try to follow it through. But there's a lot of information, and so they get it through that way. What else? A lot of data center. What Carissa sent out as a checklist was very beneficial and helpful as far as what you need to your county consideration checklist. I think if we follow that, it's kind of what other counties have used to make sure that they're filling all the blanks. I like to print things off because then I can check them off myself. Did you see that, Carissa? Otherwise.
It was on base camp.
Well, I had to look up her name to find that particular thing, so. But that goes
It's on
along
our-
with this.
It's on our admin page, Barry and I are.
Carissa with ISAC?
No,
assessor.
Carissa is she's the assessor up in Franklin. Carissa's assistant.
I think I really appreciated her sending that to us and kind of helping go through. And then I did get a call from someone in Ida County wondering what our data center, what we're doing with all of that. I think it's important for each county to kind of know what the other county's doing. So we're going to stay in touch a little bit with where they're going with it. But otherwise, it seemed like the week went really fast. I took a little quick vacation in there that period of time and came back, and everything is still here for me. A lot of things moving, but yeah.
Thank you, Gene.
You're welcome.
You did have keyword mental health, but I was informed by one of our deputies that as of July 1st, the state no longer pays for mental health transports. It was in a bill that nobody read, and now it becomes our burden as
Oh, no.
taxpayers. So we've got deputies now that are racking up overtime delivering.
Oh, no.
Sheriff deputies
Yes.
are transporting mental health.
To mental health.
Does anybody know
center.
the bill, that particular bill that came out in? And how,
I'm guessing, no, I haven't tracked that down yet, but I've got to get a hold of Cheryl up at the Yes Center.
Just the first page, the first step, and then everything back to the county.
speaking of mental health, yeah. That's,
Very, I don't know, disappointing to hear that, but not surprising.
Not surprised.
Yeah.
how can they think that's a good thing? How can the state
makes their bottom line look
Well,
better.
how many times have you asked that in the last 6 months?
Well, yeah,
We'll never stop me
Here.
from asking
you
that
limit your
because,
growth and while you're gonna pay for all this stuff we used to pay for too.
Yeah.
oh my goodness gracious. Can't believe
So
that.
I mean, Roger probably knows a lot more.
Yeah.
Means it's his department. I mean, it come to the point where, are we gonna have to contract with the Yes Center to maybe cheaper to have them do it than maybe they can. I don't know. We gotta
Well,
figure that out.
somebody has to read the bill to kind of see
We
what,
gotta pass it so you know what's in it.
Maybe someone had
Kyle,
asked that.
Kyle, did that go in effect July 1st then?
That's, yes, yep.
Not
that-
surprising.
No, this deputy was informing me, one of our own deputies was informing me that we'll have to have a budget amendment to cover all the overtime that they're gonna wrap up doing this.
so if somebody is admitted to the emergency room, how do they deem the mental health aspect of it and how they're gonna transport it? How is this all happening? Where are they taking them? Are they taking them to Sioux City?
Well, this one incident, I think they ended up Fort Dodge, it was 4 hours overtime. So
And is it our responsibility to go pick them back up when they're,
if they're our resident, yeah.
but who makes the call that it's a mental health incident?
I suppose they have to meet certain evaluation criteria, I'm guessing.
Who's making the evaluation?
What's the
Not
gal's
me.
name from Buena Vista? I guess.
No,
it'd be-
she's Caitlin. Bishop is no longer with, the number's been
And
disconnected.
I might have answered.
So am I. And that's, here we go again. It's a mental health deal and we're all searching to who exactly do we call to get the details on how we're sure our county is being treated fairly.
This is gonna be a huge black eye.
Can we send the bill to Iowa Primary Care?
We might be able to, like I said, I'll get a hold of Cheryl and, cause apparently she said they don't get paid, so they're not doing it anymore, which makes sense, right? They're not gonna get paid by the state to do it, they're not gonna do it, so which means to me, Iowa Primary Care is refusing to pay for it, according to the new law that was passed.
What if we
But
refuse?
can we contract with them as a county to lessen our costs instead of having deputies do it at whatever, $40 an hour?
Plus gas,
Can-
plus
oh,
wear
at
and tear on
least.
vehicles.
Can we get a contract with Yes Center to where we're only paying whatever the mileage rate is? So
What if we refuse? If
It
if
don't
Iowa
work that
Primary
way,
can
Chief.
refuse, what?
the buck stops with us. We don't have the opportunity to pass it down any
Right,
further.
just like substance abuse costs at the clerk. Guess who gets to pay that now? The county does. Or
Pass it on.
furniture upstairs.
Yeah.
We get to pay that.
Just nonchalantly mention that.
Well, when you said mental health, I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
that-
things would
that
jog your
conversation.
memory. I
We've
do
got
that.
some white plastic tables and some folding chairs available for the county. I'll get them to you.
I find.
So more to come on that, but if we can somehow strike up I think that's gonna be our most cost effective way.
They probably appreciate the revenue.
Cause like sitting on that board, they get a lot of income through mental health transports now, so I'm surprised I haven't received a phone call concerning that the state ain't paying that anymore, so.
That is,
At the last meeting, we
Maybe it's
approved the
just not
purchase
gonna
of
pay
2
the sheriff.
cars to cover transport, so.
well, it's
Maybe
kind
it's not gonna just not gonna pay the sheriff, and then do they know how to bill them up there?
Yeah.
Like back
Yeah, they've got a good working
to the
relationship.
regions.
Well, I'm glad we're not transitioning to a new director right now, because Cheryl's on top of all that stuff for sure.
Yeah, wouldn't that be another challenge?
Right.
But on top of paying their medical bills, which is still, we can't seem to
In the sheriff's.
In
when
the
they're-
sheriff's
when
department,
they're
yeah,
doing
yeah,
that, or-
the amount of dollars that taxpayers in Crawford County pay for inmates, it's
Which are
just-
mostly drug or mental health issues. Mental
Yeah,
health.
it all just
From-
rolls back to, well, to be continued.
Just make it all legal.
We'll all do our research on that, figure out. Why?
Sure, on the high note, just hand it off to me. Thank you, sir.
I'm sure you have a lot of stuff to report.
I can scare you with stuff. Hold on. We had a great conference.
We got it going.
What do you have information on?
Yeah.
Some
Mental health.
documents, talking to Craig earlier. I can't be here for it, so I'm
Oh.
if I can just interject real quick.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
perfect timing.
Sorry to butt in. I have court obligations that I can't be here for the meeting this morning. This is a storage and bailment agreement for the records that we talked about,
Oh.
Craig.
Yes.
Yep.
That are currently over at McHenry Miller.
Yep.
That we want to move over, that Ken Call agreed to take.
Yep.
It's a two-parter. So Craig expressed an interest in not only getting the records moved, but having something publicly available so that the records don't get kind of swiped out from under the county. And so what I have created is a storage and bailment agreement. A bailment agreement is just someone agrees to essentially take possession of something without taking ownership of that thing. And specifically, this is a gratuitous bailment, which means it's without money. There's no payment involved. And so it's weird because under the code, the clerk of court is obligated to keep all the court records. That seems self-explanatory. But also under the code, the county is required to provide the clerk of court sufficient space to do that in. So this agreement has the clerk of court essentially as a third-party beneficiary to an agreement between the county and Ken Call. So I have copies for Karen I'm going to bring up. So I should preface all of this, since this clerk of court is a state entity, I should preface this whole agreement on the state could come in and quash all this, just to let you know. I hope they don't. But when I give this to Karen, which I haven't yet, she'll have to run it up the chain. I would encourage the board to take action anyway, maybe under the proviso that it might be undone. Or if you just want to wait to hear back from the state, that's fine too. But if you want to jump on it and get it passed and then have to come back later to either amend it or quash it, if the state's unhappy, just keep that in mind. So it's kind of outlined in the very first paragraph of the bailment agreement. This is a storage and bailment agreement entered into today between Crawford County Board of Supervisors as the bailor, acting on behalf of the Crawford County Clerk of Court, the owner, and Ken Call, the bailee. The agreements are all, the terms of the, real quick, the terms of the agreement are the bailor, on behalf of the owner, the clerk, delivers possession of just various court records. The ownership remains with the owner. No security or ownership interest is conveyed. This is a gratuitous bailment. No rent or storage fee is owed. The owner and or bailor may inspect, remove, relocate any records during normal business hours upon reasonable notice. Bailee, Ken, shall not sell, transfer, pledge, or destroy, abandon, or dispose of the records. If for some reason Ken's business were to go up for sale, the agreement requires him to give us 30 days notice. Also give the purchaser a copy of this agreement. Custodian should be, I should reprint it. Custodian really, can I borrow? Yeah. Custodian really should be bailee. Bailee exercise ordinary care in safekeeping the records. Termination agreement upon written notice by either party, 30 days. Contact information for the Board of Supervisors will be the chair. For the owner, should be the clerk of court. For the bailee, it's going to be, well, Ken. Because my understanding is the records are currently being stored at McHenry Miller without any
any of this.
It should have been done all.
So there's a provision that this agreement supersedes all prior agreements. It can be modified in writing. Choice of law is Iowa. And then there's signatures and witness for Terry.
There was no full-time
I have a
county
question.
attorney back when they went over there.
Has Ken agreed to do all this for no?
That's what we discussed when we were with Ken.
Okay.
2 weeks ago.
Long
Long time.
Right, and where he's storing it, I understand that that basement had gotten wet, some of the records had gotten damaged over at McHenry Miller, that was quite a disaster. So do we have any
Ken's is flood proof is what he told us.
flood proof?
Right?
Okay,
Is
just,
that word?
Yes,
because I understand he's
Which
doing,
might
having
be-
to do some improvements.
his is a lot better opportunity for storage than what they are currently.
houses within.
Just what would happen if Ken decides that he wants to use that space for something else and he wants, I mean,
He
I
can
mean,
give,
it's our responsibility, like
30 days
Colin
notice.
said, we are required to store them. So currently, we have an agreement with Ken to store them there. If he comes back and says, gives us the
30 days
notice, and we have to take them out, then we either have to find a different place or find a location here. It's our responsibility.
And the
So we have to
county
do it.
just,
And I understand we do have room here. Is that,
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Haven't seen the file, so I don't know.
I don't know how many
much
there are
is.
either.
Oh, they fill this room.
yeah,
Back corner of Terry's office.
I thought upstairs, I was told from, did Jeff mention to us that there was a room
I know.
upstairs?
It would take a
We
room
fill
of
the
this size.
conference room, I guess.
well,
but-
if you walk into McHenry Miller, you can look into that back and you can see things are stacked up.
I would say
It's-
you're seeing what we need to move.
Yeah.
That whole back.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's always been like that.
That's what it is it's up on the main level, it's not in the.
There were
Every
things in
was
the basement,
More things in the basement that are gonna be
Destroyed.
destroyed,
Shredded.
got wet.
Oh,
they got wet,
They got-
the roof.
And I think, according to what Karen said, by the color of the file.
They're
that
civil.
They're civil and can be destroyed without no problem. It's,
And that's fortunate that,
the stuff that's on the main floor is the important
Abstract.
stuff that,
I'm glad it's on the main floor.
yeah, I mean, it's court documents, probate stuff, tracing.
And I
property
think
back
the
to-
reason that this came up is when Kyle and I were there, we said, we really should have something documented in the public's sphere,
Which is the second document I handed out.
Yeah.
so that the public knows and future boards know where these records are.
So this is a memo of the agreement that can be recorded with the county recorder, which should show up in any title opinion. So as not to be kind of sold out from under either the clerk or from the county.
so
So
it's my understanding that there's possibly abstracts that belong to individual people that were never returned to them after the closing of their mortgage loans from
Yeah,
years ago.
Yes.
That's very possible.
That has nothing to do with
That
this
has
agreement.
nothing, that's not in our
That's
wheelhouse.
not this
so-
stuff.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
was
so
curious
that
how we
doesn't have
can.
anything to do with that.
No, this is just for the county records that we're responsible for. I will go make this
Okay,
correction
all right,
and I will bring it back.
all right,
Okay.
all right.
Them abstracts would be private ownership properties, so that's just sad, unfortunate that
And they're so expensive to have.
they're there.
Well, that's the whole point, is
It's
some of
probably
those, some
already been-
individuals did go through the expense because they couldn't get an abstract
Right.
Right.
located, or they lost it. And it's probably over there.
Right.
But
And
they're
already
not,
been recreated.
Or
Already.
it's already been recreated, yes, you're
Yeah.
correct, Terry, yes.
I
And it's not
wouldn't,
structurally organized over there to go and try to find. If somebody with the last name of Dozark said, hey, can you go look through the Ds and see if my abstract is there? I have no idea where the Ds are, because
Right.
they're not after C and they're not before E, because there is no C and there is no E. There's just
When's the new
abstracts,
owner?
there's just
Description.
stuff.
good
New
description.
owner will rectify, I suppose.
Yeah,
I don't know. Or,
it's gonna be quite an undertaking. Clean.
Yeah, I don't know if Ken is gonna put some structure or organization to it, or if he's just gonna take the physical files, take them from here. and
No one
take-
can, I think he'll take the files that are allowed to be taken and organize accordingly. And then the rest of the stuff is all private business stuff. so.
Thank you, Kenny Crawford.
Yeah, Ken, I mean, that's big stepping up as a
Right,
community
right,
member
right.
for Ken to do that. That's
And a passion,
applaud to him.
passion for what he does and just,
Right, exactly. That's what it is.
But he,
Exactly. It's just a passion as to what he has. He wants things to be done right, be done correctly, and do something for the public, so the public has access to it. And he's stepping up to the plate big time. So if you see him, thank you.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Todd, you want,
Well,
you want 30 seconds before Ben stops up here?
it's been a while
Or
since
what-
we put time.
Maybe next week we'll just have you do the whole thing, because I know you got
I
enough
will have
information.
everything next week.
There's quite a bit to go over.
Right.
I will say that the trip was good. New Orleans was interesting. Didn't get,
Iowa.
I didn't do a lot of sightseeing. That last night, you know, you have the closing conference.
You guys want to give me those back? I'll give you the new ones. Oh, not the memo, just the stapled one. Yeah, you. New one. New one. New one.
That one for David.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I have both. I have extra. And then I will give one to, I'll give these, a copy of these to Karen right now. And then I will also email a copy of these to Ken.
Okay, thank you.
Our road's turning out real nice off the Charter Road. I'll just throw that out there.
Well, I think they did have one of this,
Come on in.
you bet. Nice report, Tom.
Save for next week.
Ben, good morning.
I probably forget a few details by then, but
I think you're on.
my memory will jog it.
A little cooler today. A little bearable, anyway. Slapped in the face when you walk outside. Yeah, it's downright visible out there for.
Let's start off with, we got a number of utility, that's nothing too atypical. Some fiber installation there on the 350th water installations is, well, we got one, two separate permits basically pertaining to the same water installation for the residents at 2156 T Avenue and to 2907 20th Street. One just coming along the north side of T Avenue a few hundred feet, and then the other one boring underneath the T Avenue. Get from one side of T Avenue to the other, just they're doing the boring on it. Nothing too out of the ordinary about it. We do have those do require board approval. Say so.
I'd move that we approve the boring for Western Iowa Rural Water Association.
I think it just requires the
Yeah,
signature.
it just requires this.
Oh, I don't need a motion.
Just requires.
Then I will make a motion.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's a lot of signatures for you there.
Well, you said that, I thought he was waiting for a motion.
I guess on all four for both these permits, so. And then of course you keep one copy of there's those four, just the other four.
That was pretty standard that we approved them.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that transports a liquid, so, with water, gas, CO2, should that, so, but, otherwise,
So if it needs our approval, could be okay.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just asking, I'm not objecting, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
That, construction, the HMA project over there, they're doing the overlay, they're working on shouldering that material right now. Good, I know, folks, starting to, keeping them shaped up to where they can get up on the road those that need to get a bond out into one. So hopefully by the end of the week here, they should have all the shoulder material and then try to smooth it all the lane entrances back and the side of the roads and kind of feather it out to where the approaches are good for that. And then what's left is almost ribs and striping, and it should be a done project. So things have gone very well within that regard. So, we do still need to do a little bit of assessment on our striping, from what we had before. We need to know if we need to lengthen what was there previously before they get to that striping, but we're working on that right now. Just to make sure we don't need to lengthen our no passing zones due to 6 mile an hour change. I guess in regards to the speed limit change, we have all the signs, the 60 mile an hour speed limit signs up. Troy is all the advanced warning signage and do the setbacks if they're not meeting those minimum requirements. He's setting those back right now. Aside from that, I do have a ball bank indicator to help us review the curves, whether or not they're good for needing to post reduce speed limit through any of our curves that aren't already. You have one of those I can grab. We're probably going to grab that this week from Oshie County. So, but it would only take a couple days to really go through our curves with it and determine whether or not we need to do any different signs that are already marked.
The only one that I've been traveling on and testing was the one east of Booyer. It seemed a little flat for 60 mile an hour. You carry it.
Yeah, and it'll tell you.
I'd say it might start bumping up against the warning sign on that one.
There's a couple on M16, you go from south of Dow City there that want to put it to, and question. But like I said, chances are may not need to change a thing. If I would review it, probably within 10 mile an hour that it was reviewed for, and may not have to do anything, but we're gonna check them. So.
What are you thinking on Boyer? What?
East of Booyer by Timber Hill, you hit that first corner between the railroad tracks and that.
Okay.
55 seemed to be all right, but you can take it 60 or.
So you've been testing all that for us?
I'm in the area.
So you're driving.
Put my helmet on. And
Okay, all right.
seatbelt.
Thank you for doing that for us.
He's got his 5-point harness.
I can't believe you didn't want me to be coming the other way so you could see if you were gonna hit me.
That's a great
Yes, it's at 60 miles an hour now, and I find myself now making it up to it. Every time I look down, I'm between 55 and 60. I was like, I can't seem to wrap my head around the fact that I can increase it a little bit. I suppose that's better than the other way around. Never
Makes
take my
my
foot off the
60
pedal.
cruise too slow now.
Jerry started going 52 for some reason. I'm like, what are you doing?
Great crew, they're working on P Avenue, they're plugging right along there. Nice to have a little bit of moisture to help them out there, but as far as backing it in, but it is backing in. But
Not enough soil though. You know what? That's a little moisture. Too much, then it becomes an eroding nightmare.
Yep, and it is dry. It is really dry. They're working. I think it's working good for them, but
They don't back in. Been there for a million years. Once you disturb it, it's just like.
we do have. We did pick up quite a few loads of the erosion stone. We're going to put quite a few check dams in the ditches along there. Try and keep that from just washing down. Yeah.
Much more cost effective.
From the big rock.
Yeah, versus the port site.
But
Okay, yeah, I see we got Colin, Karen, Ken, we got everybody.
we bumped into each other.
Colin,
There might be some additional concerns that may not be able to, I mean, you guys decide today, if I need to rework the agreement, that's fine, I just can't do it before my obligations at 10, so.
Sure.
Okay.
So we'll let, you guys will be on the agenda right after Ben gets done. That's okay? Okay.
Exact number of the cost difference that happened. But it is less, don't do it one stuff for us. But there again, it's not forever process, but it ditch checks, but it doesn't need to, it's probably better. It eventually,
Seems like you got continuous water flow like you do on the riverbed,
right.
river banks.
Yeah, Overfill, where we're doing that work in that stream channel and right, the stream stabilization. Now, that's something we want the court side. You don't want 30 years ago and have all the limestone just got freezing thaw, broken up and basically washing away. So that's a great application for that underneath our bridges and the court side wouldn't do anything less. So especially the bridges that we're going to build, new bridges. So on that note, King Creek, we are working on that. They pulled off for a couple days here while waiting on ability to get some grout to grout the riprap that we just placed. So they started a bridge replacement project up on Arcadia Street up there. That'll be a big 3-span bridge. I think folks have been wanting to see that one done for some time. So it's got a lot of calls and it was just happy that we're doing it. So they are up there. They'll make it back down there tomorrow to do the grout and then they got a little.
How much time is left, you think, for Vail?
Oh, they'll be finished
This
midweek next week.
Okay.
The court ground on Thursday, they'll wait until Monday, Tuesday, to open it up and finish their work. So Tuesday, Wednesday.
Gotcha. But yeah, going well. I think positive reviews on what we're doing over there. It really took an eyesore, for whatever reason those parcels that the county owns and it looked like it was just a dumping ground for broken concrete, with trees falling in and really shaped it up and made it look a lot better. It is Hunger Canyons funded, so like 80% of the project is Hunger Canyons reimbursed.
There's a kind of that fair story that was started because of used to flood in Vail when that creek was getting high. So they just, farmers and stuff started bringing their old concrete stuff there and dumping it, putting a little dirt on top and making a dike, levee track. So,
Yeah, and that creek's
that's how it goes.
Okay.
That's how stuff started,
But there was some erosion coming up there. Yeah, I know all the concrete helped, but when we removed that, we did do the sheet pile weir in there, so it keeps that bottom of the creek eroding down any further, and a bit of a riprap let down over 100 feet to keep the erosion in check, so it's not working its way upstream to that bridge for that. Right.
Okay.
I don't know what street that's called. But
Right. We know where you're at. We all stood there and looked at it. Yeah.
Yep. But that's what's going on there.
Gotcha.
It'll be wrapped up by next week.
Nice.
And roadside crew, they're out spraying and seeding. They're getting back to seeding. They took delivery of the new hydro seeder yesterday, day before yesterday. Yeah. No, yesterday. Sorry, I'm losing track of days. But they're running it. So gonna make a couple of different adjustments to it to make it a little better for them. Or it's kicking up some of the bales at them, but as you know, there's some minor adjustments that we'll do to it, but it's running good for them. And so the old hydro seeder, not sure what direction we're going with that just yet, but we'll figure out a good outlet for that. So. Just discussion on condition of the gravel roads. Like I mentioned, is dry. I know there's a lot of roads that long hills that just get washboarded at the moment right after you blade them. I know probably getting some calls from it. I know we are just kind of putting it out there that like 193rd Street just south of Dallas City, that one I watched them blade it. I went out there the next day and it's a washboarded mess. It's just simply until we get some moisture to hold things together.
So what's the best way to care for roads when it is so dry? I mean, is there anything a person can do, or do you just leave them till you get some moisture and not even grade them? Or
personally, I feel not hitting them as much as you can if you don't have to work up and loosen the aggregate and then exacerbate the
it's
washboard.
best to leave them
If you can,
Yeah.
but on some of these hills, it's gonna washboard to the point where you gotta do something. It just gotta keep on them and you just hope for some
Cut
glacier.
the gravel on the side of the road,
What's that, Kyle?
cut the gravel and a windrow on the sides to eliminate some of that ability to build them washboards.
Get rid of some of the excess gravel that might be on the road, get it. all
Just
under
windrow it on the
sides.
side and bring it back after rain. Like I said, the more you blade it just makes the problem worse.
That's what you'll have some of the farmers will call, well, can't you put the scarator down and tear that washboards up, but then you loosen the road up and you dig the road down. You get the same effect, like he said, one day you blade it, the next day, you know, cause you got loose rock on it, the next day it's washboarded again. You know, and if you start digging it up, now you're just getting deeper washboard, I mean, the washboards, it doesn't improve it. And I mean, it's, you live on a gravel road, and I hate to say it like that, cause it isn't that we don't care, but how do you fix it? I mean, if we could afford to do a subgrade stabilization and seal coat every road in the county, it'd be great, but you know, anything that generates a lot of new revenue, we seem to be against, so, right?
But like I said, just put it out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of long and short of it. We're doing our best to keep things moved up, and we'll continue to do so. But the only last thing I've got is I met with me and Sean, met with DOT and the UB Railroad out on the crossings east of Denison here. We got them short sections of gravel road between Highway 30 and the railroad tracks. And you got that horrible hump up over those railroad tracks. They're proposing at county's cost, but they will do the work of that when they're doing the overlay on Highway 30, which I believe they're proposing for next year, they're gonna be raising the Highway 30, you know, putting new asphalt on top. They would do the work to asphalt up to the railroad crossings, which right now there's smatterings of asphalt, you know, up to the railroad tracks, and then a short section of gravel, and then you got the highway. They're proposing doing asphalt up to the railroad tracks. They would do the work, pay for the materials, the labor to do it, but the work would get done for us. We won't have to do any permitting or anything with the railroad. I think it's something that should very much be considered. It's maintenance of the little short stretches.
That's just on our gravels.
Yeah, and you're talking 60 feet to the railroad tracks, basically from the road to the highway.
How many of them? Is it 2 or 3?
There's 3 of them.
3.
Yep, N Avenue, 310th and 320th.
Some kind of a cost, do you think that was?
He's gonna give me some numbers.
Okay.
that
So are they gonna get rid of the hump? I mean, cause that's,
That's gonna help.
we've had some we had a high centered there before.
Yep.
So it wouldn't fix or cure that problem. Could still happen.
It would mitigate a little bit of that. They're gonna be raising the elevation of the highway would be a little bit higher.
All right.
Where it's
Not-
bellied out now, they can fill in a little bit of that and have a little bit less of an abrupt approach to it. I think it'll mitigate a lot of it, but it ain't gonna fix a bad, horrible situation. It is still gonna be a hump. The trucks are still gonna have to
Double drop.
watch themselves and know what they've got.
As long as they're doing a little bit, why can't they do a little bit more?
On the highway.
You know,
Uh,
when they say they're doing a little bit,
Well, it's kind of like what we're doing on L51, where we build off an inch, we're putting 3.5 inches on.
okay.
We couldn't really do a foot in some areas just to bring the elevation of the road up. It was just. Yeah, I wish we could put a foot on all of it,
Just a
but
thought. Keep saying a
the reason
little
is
bit.
just uniformity throughout all Highway 30. They're gonna come through there, put their lift of asphalt on top of it. So it'll raise it some, but like I said, in between Highway 30 and the highway and the railroad tracks, where it's got a little bit of valley, they can fill in, put a little more material in there and lessen the severity of the hump.
A
So
little bit's better than more.
it would be
Wonder if
better.
that'll tempt people over with the double drops or a livestock trailer that's like 4 deckers, they've got a lot deeper belly on them. You know,
I think people that drive on those roads with semis know what they can and can't kick off. So, we know that with the low, we can't go over them, so.
I can't answer for everybody.
It don't look as severe, I mean, I'm just saying.
Everybody's gotta know their own
Yeah, don't move the sign.
capabilities. Yes, but it'll make it better, but no, it isn't gonna fix entirely the situation, so. But yeah, get to see what they're throwing out there for
Not enough.
what the cost of the county. I just kind of put it out there, that's being proposed, I think it'd be a great thing, rather than trying to maintain that short little bit of gravel in between.
We'll come back, I guess, when you get some costs.
Yep.
And what's the time frame? They're looking at 27, sometime in 27, or?
Yeah, it'd be 2027, I don't know when the start date would
Right.
be, but,
How much of highway 30 are they?
Basically from Denison to the county line, so. Stopping pretty well right off the county line.
Gotcha.
And how that impacts our Donnery Road Bridge project, they're aware of it, and I think everybody's well aware of our project as well. We'll be working together on that, so shouldn't impact that too much, so.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Tim.
Safety meeting tomorrow morning, we'll be having down shop, the safety meeting. Yeah.
7 o'clock?
7 o'clock, yes.
7 o'clock.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At least we get these things right.
A bit cooler today for you.
It's a lot better today. Thank you very much.
Karen.
Yes.
So we'll have you guys come up now. First time you got to see the agreement that Colin drew up.
Sure.
And he kind of mentioned to us, Karen, that he thought that you would have to, I guess, run it up your ladder.
I said something to the chief yesterday, he says, I'll look into it
Meaning that no other county has an agreement
with the.
with the state about showing records? No, you don't know. Okay,
All new to you.
So we're considering this the first draft.
okay,
I didn't even expect them to have something drafted by now. So.
You guys probably haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Just saw it.
Yeah.
Yep.
he gave us a copy and said he was gonna get you a copy and get you a copy and you'd run it up your
You gotta run way down.
poll. And so, I don't think though, it was the intention of the board today to approve anything. I think we're gonna wait to see,
Right.
what we get back from the state of Iowa. To me, that makes the most sense, to see what they kibosh or don't like or do like.
First draft.
And it'll take a few weeks for me to have the space ready. Got all the old 100 years of junk all cleaned out. I got the ductwork all cleaned out on Thursday night
This is at your current
at
facility.
my place. Yeah, so then over the weekend, we can get it washed out, and then hopefully next week, start to seal all the walls and the floor. That way this is a much better, secure archival ready space. And that being said, since I'm putting all this work into it, it's 24 feet wide by 80 feet long, which is way more than what would be needed by the county. I'm hoping in the future to have storage unit, like rooms installed into this so that each unit would be rented out. And then at that point, it'd be nice if I could get some rent income since I'm putting all this into it. Though I know you haven't budgeted for rent income for storage for the last decades, that might be something to consider. Also, this is a nice thing for the county, and I'm kind of up in the air, but I wanted to put the idea out there just to see.
Is there a number that you were considering?
I'm thinking an 8x8 room would be $80.
How many 8x8 rooms would we need?
I don't know yet, and at this point, you're gonna be the only ones in here, so we could say, free of charge for the first year, and then once we settle in and see how much space there actually is, that could be something. And maybe I'll say like, hey, it's free forever, but I don't wanna commit myself to
Right.
Right,
having a storage space that is not mine,
right. And that's kind of where the state comes in.
Right.
Will the state, will they be willing to help pay?
No.
for their- No?
No,
Okay,
it's our
I got
requirement.
down.
right, and I don't wanna hurt the county or anything, so I at
Short
least
answer is no.
want it to be part of the conversation at least.
I had to bring it up.
Yeah, I thought of it too, but
Right, it's in Iowa code,
Yeah,
who the requirement is,
yeah,
responsibility,
more money
so.
or no money.
Yeah,
And then he's gonna pick the files he wants.
Just basically everything that's not toxic. Because there are some, you know, that you saw were covered in mud and like,
And
you know,
sitting in mud.
yeah, like those need to be destroyed on the way out the door there from that place.
I'm envisioning just on the main floor.
The main floor should be all good though,
But what was in the basement,
Majority were civil files,
or the criminal.
criminal files,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yes, that's
Yeah.
the proper term.
The-
Yes,
do you
criminal
feel like you
terms.
put those down there knowing that they were the files that didn't need to be kept as safe?
Probably,
I think so,
yeah.
I think so.
That there was a method of madness to
Mhm.
that taking.
It's a very passive way to destroy them by mud.
I don't know when that mud came.
Right.
We never were in there before.
No, but it's kind of surprising that it hadn't been brought to your attention, you know,
Mhm.
years ago or whenever it happened, that these files have been destroyed and, you know, that you're just not finding out now. Or quite surprised.
I didn't know it was even sold. So it could have happened over the last,
It could have just been in the last few months, who knows? Another item that we saw is item number 1, where it's just as various documents. Part of this conversation, I want to like specify. So it's not just various, like maybe perhaps all ancient court files that are usable in safe condition, including but not limited to probate and civil cases. That way, in years when we look at this, we know what to find there. Not just various, whatever somebody felt like.
I think that's a good call. I just don't know if Colin knows the whole extent of, so
Right.
he's uses various as a starting point. I
Yeah.
think that should be easily spelled out.
Draft copy number 1.
Mhm.
and who's gonna deliver them to his office?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna walk this out over.
I mean, who do we have? I mean, is that a custodial thing? Is that since we're storing the records for the clerk of court, is that the clerk of court's responsibility to move them?
No.
Or since they're now our files, since we're required by Iowa code to store them, that's our responsibility? So who do we have on staff that we would have do that?
Engineers Park Department, they've helped us. They send up boys.
The other thought would be, in what order, is there a specific way that they need to come over to make it easy for you to know where you can find? I would visualize
Right.
that you have one kind of specific file in one storage area and another state in one
They're all numbered,
county.
right?
They're numbered
They're
and
numbered. They're numbered, yes.
they're
You-
quite
Probably
disheveled.
box them up.
Yeah, like they could just arrive there and
You'd be okay with that.
try to put them in, you know, whatever space, and then they get organized and inventoried as we put them on the shelves.
Are any of them in file cabinets?
Maybe. I would hope, like, it didn't seem like there was as many as I expected, so maybe some are inside cabinets.
Is there a chance that those cabinets, you know, could go along with that we can make a deal with the current?
The furniture is owned by the building owner, Jim, so that could be part of the transaction.
Because that would make it
easy
easier if
just
you
to
could just take those file
keep those in
cabinets.
line.
And maybe there's some order to the file cabinets that you can discover once they're in your possession
Mhm.
and aren't been
That
what's
would
in
be-
there.
Yeah.
Because there's a problem to having files that nobody knows if you have it or not. So
Right.
the reason for keeping them is so that if somebody needs something, they can find them.
Mhm.
And so if we just move them over there in a fashion, we've accomplished.
It's still useless, yeah.
Yeah, we need a catalog of what he has.
A catalog, yeah.
That would be project number 1, I think, is to catalog them as we figure out how to show
It's
them.
a job, it is a.
And there are a few shelves, and, you know, hopefully those could be part of the move as well.
And how long do you have to get those out per the
Jim said he wouldn't push us.
No,
Oh, that's nice. That's
Yeah,
very,
Jim didn't seem like he had time to.
right.
okay.
He's got so many other things to clean out there. He's just happy to have one thing moving.
Okay.
We should have the shredding company come over.
Yeah,
They haul everything out of the basement, shred all that.
so if he would have secure shred solutions come, I don't know if one of us would need to be there to
But would-
direct or,
Would they take those damaged files? Cause that seems like contaminated.
yeah. I don't know
Because
if
they
they
won't
could.
even take wet cardboard, you know, anything wet is contaminated, and so we don't wanna recycle it.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest purpose.
Yeah,
of
I
it.
don't know how you destroy.
And you can't burn them because they're wet, muddy.
Mhm. And you're never sure if it burns everything but the social security number.
Security.
Right, names, date of birth,
Right.
information.
Exactly.
And there's civil files.
Criminal file.
Most
criminal
are criminals, yeah.
Yeah.
Criminal, there's criminal.
They were red.
Yikes.
So we've got families, descendants, you know, that are
Right.
still living here.
Buried in a basement, and all of a sudden it's coming to light. And we're responsible to make sure that they stay safe and secure.
Any files on the Jack Stones?
Probably.
Probably.
I didn't look through them enough to see, but
Did you have your rubber gloves and boots on?
So another task is just
Okay.
figure out how.
so you want to make those changes that you want on there, just get that back to Colin, and then I guess we'll. The big thing is gonna be when you get back from the state, I think. Because they might kibosh the whole thing, so we're not signing any agreement at all whatsoever.
They can't, I mean, the county owns them. They can't say anything as far as I'm concerned.
Well, our code says that we're responsible for it.
Yeah.
So.
And we're just trying to communicate that, I think, where the storage will be.
So you're willing to do it in the first 12 months, cost-free to the county?
Mhm.
Till we have a chance to, I guess, put it in next year's budget,
Figure out what,
figure out how much storage it's actually using,
right,
what you deem that cost should be for you, and I can understand that. And appreciate you, I guess, stepping up for at least the first year and saying, hey, till we get everything figured out, I'll do it at no charge.
right, and just, yeah, I don't wanna commit to not making money off of storage space forever.
Forever, I understand.
I understand that.
I'm thinking that the state would just maybe approve as to form or something.
Right.
At the bottom.
You have taxes to pay, so.
Right, I mean, I'm paying you guys as well.
We don't have the authority to take time.
Right.
So we need to address. the
You
fee,
pay us to have the ability to not charge us, right? For
Yeah.
using, right, that doesn't seem like a fair.
As long as everything looks good in the end.
Right. Okay.
So that's where we are, and I guess we'll,
Well, it's lucky that we all ran into each other.
Yeah.
when the First draft, so.
I'll get back to calling out these ideas.
Okay.
Maybe reconvene in a week or two.
we're not doing it.
I think, I mean, you get back the changes that you want to have, Colin will make those changes. I think the biggest thing, like I said, I think is just what we hear back from the state would be interesting to see if they go, yeah, whatever, it's not our responsibility anyway, so we'll sign.
Okay.
Or if they, come back and are totally against it, they say, we're not signing anything with the county,
For penalty.
with the state of Iowa.
What's the
They don't
penalty?
want
if we
involved in the
just destroy
process,
them?
good.
I mean, we've never had anything written in place before, so they've been stored over there for 40, 50, 60 years and no agreement, so they can be stored without any
Not
agreement.
all of them are over there. I mean,
Right, we have some here.
we have destroyed some too.
Okay.
You have.
Oh, yeah.
Can we destroy any of those? And only have to have,
Well, they've all been reproduced. Problem is the state came in, we were scanning, the state came in and moved it over to the computer. There's things missing.
So is every document that's over there been scanned? Is that what you did?
There's some, yes, supposedly, yes, but the real early ones are in blue ink and
some of them don't come across easy, and
You can't read it through.
So,
going through the scanned files takes about an hour or so versus looking through a paper file at about 10 minutes. And just,
And
and sometimes you just don't know what you're reading.
we've still got probate files in our basement. And see,
The folder.
in our basement here, is there room yet in that basement to store more files?
we don't want sticky things over here.
Is there room, any room in the courthouse, anywhere where we store files that we still have room to store more
How
files?
do we get rid of them rotten ones? Like cover them, throw it. Can't, if they can't be shredded.
Yeah, I don't know, that's a problem.
They can't be shredded.
I mean, that's my point. How do we get rid of it? Because
Wood
like you
chipper?
brought
I
up.
suppose you
The
just
chipper,
pull them up, take them to landfill, watch them, make sure they get buried, I guess.
Bury them.
But
You know,
how long does it take for them to decompose enough to not have personally identifiable information to be able to be dug up?
Can
Am I
we,
getting way too paranoid? You know, maybe.
yeah,
Well, we have a rule at this court. We
Well-
hope for the best and plan for the worst.
Does the shredding company have the ability to shred those things that they don't want to recycle, just to shred them, go out to the landfill?
Like
and
on a
dump them?
separate shred job.
Right, and you can go
Maybe
to the
that's-
landfill and dump them?
That's just simply a question to ask.
that would be a question, because if they're using them, like, what they shred it, and that's recyclable.
Right, but these are
It's
not.
gonna contaminate the entire load, then they won't.
Maybe they've got a special service just for.
We'd have to ask,
stuff like this.
we'd have to ask.
That's the
I don't
first
know.
one.
What are the people that come in for
Majority of
floods?
them be shredded.
For what?
down there.
I think a majority of them would be shredded.
Come in
It's on the
and clean
floor,
things up
yes.
for floods.
But those
Maybe they've got ways to destroy things too.
they're used to dealing with files that are.
I think we're thinking too much of it, I think most of them are shreddable. The ones on the floor,
Sort of throw or whatever.
that may not amount to much by the time they get done.
True, yeah.
It's a problem.
It's a
Problem.
sort of throw, I think.
what was around the corner, more files?
Yeah.
Were there more files back there?
You didn't go
That were
out,
not-
you didn't
that
go
were
around
not
the
red.
whole- you didn't have your mud boots
No.
on,
Cause it was slick.
I wouldn't let
I
it
was
come
hanging
down or
on
I
to
about
the
fell down.
like the day I went out on the mud road.
Those were,
This is a, yeah, that's why I said Karen, don't come down.
All right, well.
okay,
Yeah, we'll keep.
keep it moving on.
Appreciate it.
thanks, Ken, thanks, Karen.
Yeah, bye. We continue.
Sherry,
See you up and around. Oh, gosh. Is
I'm
it-
gonna stand if you don't mind.
Sure, whatever's the best for you.
There's one for you guys. For you guys.
Thank you.
Everything is in balance. I didn't see anything on here that was concerning or anything, but you've got everything right there. Ty, last time you asked for the full year, so we printed one of those as well. If anybody else wants it, you guys can get copies, but the bottom line shows our calculated ending balance is 17,496,000, and then that also is the actual, so everything's right where it should be.
Awesome.
is that 17.5 million, is that, I guess historically, has that been about what we've done for the last 3-4 years, or?
I honestly, without going back and checking, I don't remember. We look at so many numbers that
Right,
I don't remember what they are on each semi-annual, but we can definitely look and answer that question. I know that when we looked at the beginning balance, the 9 million this time, and it was very close, maybe within $1 million on the full year one. So that amount seems somewhat consistent. But as far as, yeah, like I said, with all the numbers that we look at, I don't remember what each semi-annual report where we're usually at for balances.
In balance is the main thing, so.
Yeah, and that's when we do our reports, that's what we do, we go through and just make sure, because like we've said before, each department comes in and tells us where these money goes, so we put them exactly on the revenue codes that they're saying. So our concern is just to make sure that we're balanced at the year end.
So just, I guess, when I just look at this quickly, and I haven't thought this through, so this might be a stupid question, but when we do the budget for the county, I mean, the budget for the county is roughly about 23 million, I think it was 23.5 million last year. And then when you look at the expenses for the county, for the whole county was 30 million, or yeah, 30,454,000. How do we end up spending 7 million more than we
We
budgeted?
apportion all the taxes for the entire county, for all the taxing authorities. We apportion that out, so we don't budget for that.
Gotcha.
That's in here. You can see on starting at the 4,100 fund number, which is the assessor, that gets apportioned to the assessor. And then you've got ag extension, you've got schools, you've
Okay.
got area schools, which are community college, corporations are cities,
So we show,
county special, townships, all that gets apportioned out, even like the state motor vehicle
So I just
fees
saw
and
that
the
state-
state use
Right.
tax.
Yeah.
We don't budget for that.
That's all money that we collect, and
Yeah,
then
and
each year,
it's
when
apportioned.
each month when I do apportioning, then it gets sent back out to those entities.
Yeah, you can see that's a
Right.
lot of,
it
I
is,
mean,
I see
almost
that.
10 million, more than $10 million.
Yeah, schools are 6.5.
Yep.
What's the corporations? What would that be?
Cities,
Cities, okay. All right.
incorporated areas.
Incorporated areas, yep, okay, all right.
Numbers.
Sorry, I didn't.
No, I appreciate that. No, I'm still a little bit in a fog, so I
It's okay.
appreciate the help.
Looks to me like you need to get that parking ticket revenue up.
It
We
was
don't have
zero?
many meters in the county. You want a meter at your place?
Well, we gotta look for alternative funding
What about the
sources,
boat
so-
fund? Could we get some money in the boat fund too? That's a
Yeah.
zero.
Okay. What is the grain?
They get taxed for grain storage at different locations. Not very
Okay,
many.
you got it? Perfect.
Balances of the last 2 fiscal years.
Thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
16 million and 18 million.
Okay, so it is,
24, it was 18,206, and 25, it was 16,737, so
okay,
Back in that.
ballpark.
right in there,
Yeah,
right,
right
stays
in the-
pretty
Yeah.
consistent.
Good.
Thank you,
There it
Amy.
is.
Yes, thank you, Amy.
We talked
Any other questions for Sherry?
now. That page.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you.
Entertain a motion to approve her treasurer's semi-annual report.
Make a motion to approve the report.
Motion by Jean, second by Ty. Any further discussion?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Dave. I didn't know he was still here. Cool.
Little big D up there.
I see that. I didn't see it before, so I thought he reached his destination perhaps.
Moved.
Oh, I'm still on the road. I'm still here.
Okay. So we'll move on to, I guess, rescind from the July 7th meeting, the public hearing time and date.
Do we need to do anything with this as far as just notate that we're moving it? This is a- Just need to make an agreement that we're gonna, not table it, but move it to the meeting.
Well, there's no action will be taken because we're waiting for the response like we're talking about. Okay.
So this looks like we skipped it. How's that?
So Terry, did you have any information on the rescind from the July 7th?
So originally, that was set to, I think the first hearing was supposed to happen on the 21st, which was fair stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah, I went down and talked to, Tim and, let me find my stuff. I have the original one, but yeah, that was the biggest, part of
Okay,
that original one was, it was set for a date that you all weren't even meeting.
Okay, and nobody showed
No
up?
one here, well,
We don't know.
we never published it because we knew it was
Okay,
incapable of
I see.
being.
okay.
I was worried about the.
So, yeah, so at that point, we needed to do these actions, rescinding, the time and date of those meetings and that publication, and he updated the dates for the next action item then. So, yeah,
Motion to approve. It was sent.
the rescission.
Do you want to do it one at a time? We want a motion to rescind and then a motion to set.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second the
Okay.
motion to rescind.
Motion by Kyle, second by Jean. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Move on to a motion to set what were the dates that Tim was asking?
So the first hearing would be August 11th, the second hearing would be August 18th, and the third and final hearing, the 25th.
Okay.
All at 10
Oh,
a.m.
what, 10 o'clock right here at
in
the,
the boardroom, yeah.
That would make, we ain't gonna come in and steal us away. It should be good.
Only if you let her.
Hard to say no to. They should work, right?
18th and
25th.
25th.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
motion by Kyle, second by Ty. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries.
They need to come in and sign these since you've been voting.
Yeah, we'll catch you the next time he's in.
Jogging my memory.
You bet, thank you.
Move on to the alcohol license application for Wine Time LLC from Market at the Farm. That was in our board packet also.
Make a motion to approve that application for Market on the Farm.
Motion by Jean, second by Ty. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Move on to discussion. Dedicated funding, county safety and security.
Have to create a fund.
Potentially,
Okay.
or figure out where you would like it funded from.
Okay.
So at our last Safety and Security Council meeting, department head meeting, a report was, and discussion was had about the CISA report that I believe happened towards the end of Jake's term. I can't remember the gentleman's name that conducted that report. Anyway, he had a lot of good information. That's where like the badging at doors, entry doors, and then offices, that's where some of that discussion started or, was held. One of the items on his list was the funding, the separate funding or dedicated funding for safety and security. I know, so Zach and Ryan both were at that meeting, and depending on the type of item we're talking about, any of that could be one, it could be out of EMA, it could be out of IT, it could be, I don't know if it would be general services or if it would be more applicable to be its own fund. But I just wanted to start the discussion about it. We have time, of course, before our next budget sessions happen, because it probably wouldn't happen in this current budget session. but for the next budget session, something to think about.
How would we
I wouldn't
know?
want it at EMA, because then there's another board that might. get that.
Right, exactly, yeah. Yeah, that EMA board doesn't really have that authority, I guess, over the safety and security of the courthouse and our facilities and things. So, yeah, that's a good point.
What would a suggestion for a budgeting amount be?
That I don't know either.
That's kind
That's
of,
just it. I just wanted to
Yeah.
start that and
that's why
start the wheels turning, so.
we have to start thinking about exactly what we have to
Yeah.
cover with that.
Exactly. And every year it could be a little different. It would, I mean, we're getting very diligent on having this meeting every single month. We are,
We had about a
Or-
98% attendance.
yeah, we're,
Yeah.
we're doing very well in attendance.
And what I thought was good is that if the department head couldn't be there, they had sent somebody.
Yep, we have
their
somebody
place
assigned
and
in our departments to attend.
Yep.
That might not be as effective because they might just not be aware of some of the discussions that are being held either, because I don't always come back to my office and hold those discussions about, I mean, if it's pertinent to my staff, then yes, we do talk, but not
They can bring it
always.
back to you so that you're prepared. if there's anything.
Right, but they might not have anything to contribute just because they don't have.
But it helps the
previous knowledge.
attendance, and if something does jump out and,
Right.
it helps our overall have people in those seats, so. that's important.
Through a year's worth of meetings, this council would maybe come to the board with, during budget saying, hey, this is what plans are. So fund appropriate that much too.
Right, and currently the, badging to enter our building and to enter other offices is underway through our IT department. So like I said, I mean, maybe he needs a line item that is safety and security, or maybe, it's just part of the contracted, budgeting that he does for contracted IT or whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. I just wanted
I have in
something.
my mind that chart that they had, that was old, that was of the things that we weren't doing, that we were deficient in. Remember that chart that he had? And one of them was notifying the board, things that we didn't even realize. That was interesting to me, but as we said, those were things that we were deficient in. Was done, when was that? A while back. So
Yeah.
things that we've even improved since those findings were done. But again, personally think of what that budget would need to involve, so we're gonna have to start thinking about that.
That's
I
why
think
it's
it's a
on
good
the
idea to, so discussion. Start keeping mental notes of what we might need to do. Noted.
Board need to decide how we, line item, whatever, but I'm with you, not me, EMA's budget.
Nothing where we get a commissioner or another board.
No.
That might think that they're, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
They're responsible for it out of their budget, and when it's, or that they have spending authority on that funds. See what I'm getting at?
It might just, I think, the simple answer is to put a line item in IT, but that might not, that's a simple answer, it might not be the right one.
But it's for the safety and security of the courthouse.
Right.
Right, and
It's
that
kind
might
of-
not all be IT related projects, so that's why I'm saying that might not.
Could you call that a capital expense? It ain't infrastructure, but it still is.
It depends on what it is.
Right.
Yeah,
It
I'm just spitballing here.
No, I know.
The other thing can we make it to where we can?
I'm just trying to keep it out of anybody
in there,
else's
and then,
budget.
according to the state, it's not part of reserves, so they don't have to burn them down. Like the state wants us to burn our reserves up, so. Well, I mean, these are the things we need to think of.
Yeah.
More to come. I
More
appreciate
to
you bringing-
come.
To be
bringing that
continued.
up,
Yep, I
you know,
just
'cause that's
wanted to
Discussion worthy.
have a start jumping off point, so.
Okay.
All good.
Move on to resolution 2026-31, transfer funds from general basic to capital projects. I think that's in our board book, it was about 150,000.
Yeah, that's what was budgeted for capital expenditures. If the board does end up doing that parking area over at the CCCS building, that would come out of that budget, and there's plenty of funding there. If there are other capital, there always seems to be another capital project that comes up during the year. And it's just nice to have the funds available and
Nice.
they
So
would
we
all,
wanna-
this would be in that fund.
That was
and-
the total budget for 26-27 was 150,000.
Yes,
So we transfer that over now to have it available, so
Yeah.
whenever these capital projects come up.
yeah, and you all are always
Right, the money's available.
aware of the capital projects that happen, so it's not like it would get spent without your knowledge, so.
Right.
Got it.
Yep,
Make a motion to approve that transfer.
Second that.
Motion by Kyle, second by Ty. Any further discussion? That is a resolution, so roll call by resolution. Kyle?
Aye.
Ty? Dave?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Just kind of leads into the estimate for that curb and grass area at the CCS building. I guess you were in communication with Jessica
yeah,
also, because
and you also, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So she had mentioned, some ordinances that the city would need to consider, updating if we were to, take away that parallel parking and make it angled parking. But they would get that on, I think their next meeting is next week. She said the first week in August, first Tuesday, so she would have something for them to discuss, to update ordinances. Yeah,
so I think she was still waiting, because I think their engineer they met with, I guess it wasn't just a week ago, it was 2 weeks ago
yeah,
on Wednesday.
yeah, to
And-
coordinate our projects potentially, or to find out if they could be done independently
Right.
and still be structurally sound. And it, yeah, and it sounded like, that was the case, that they could be held, independently. But she was gonna try to get more information on maybe the timeline the city was looking at.
It's on the city's agenda for the 4th,
Yeah.
August 4th, their next meeting.
Yeah, exactly, so,
Because this is what she just responded to me. She said, I've been working with 10 Point on it and have not had an engineer review that yet. But she said, according to Mike, with 10 Point, the parking area can be done with concrete and the road can be replaced or overlaid at a later time. So we can do ours separately, not necessarily, I guess, in conjunction.
right,
Would have to be in
Exactly.
conjunction, could be separate.
Yeah.
So we hear what their engineers saying that road needs to, if it's just gonna be
How
an
many
overlay.
marketplaces are we guessing we'll add?
well,
Nobody ever seen that?
according to the
Yeah,
drawing,
we have to draw it.
it kind of looks
I
like
didn't count.
6, 7, 8.
How many do we get
Maybe
now?
8. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7. So it's really only gonna add maybe
Oh.
1 or 2.
If they'll be larger, but I think what the problem is that the parallel are so small
Yeah,
that you really, like you're driving a big SUV, you really can't
Right.
fit in there because they're short.
Take up
You
just.
can't fit 5 if everybody's driving
right, you
Yeah.
can't,
Just like
yeah.
the-
a
Yeah.
pickup, a
Yeah,
4-door
so if
pickup.
everybody drove a Prius, it would be fine.
We could sign it that way. Compact cars only.
There we go.
You could probably park them diagonal on the parallel.
Right, exactly.
Just saying. I think that's what we're gonna accomplish
Our
more.
portion is gonna.
It's just more sizable,
Right.
more pricey.
$18,000.
I thought it was gonna be more than that, I guess.
Well, that was kind of what I was wondering too.
Right.
You know,
Yep, the county's portion is 20, the city portion is not quite 19.
But you do have to have more side to side if you're angled, so you can open doors without beating everybody up next to you. So,
Right, and there's a standard width that they go by for as far as the signing. That, so, just like they did across the way. So, yeah, I didn't know if the board would want to take action, not knowing the city's resolution on that, or
No, I
it
think
doesn't matter
I
to
think we'll
me.
wait, huh?
I think
Yeah.
We'll wait.
I got.
Next is the proposed data center ordinance, and I just asked them to add that, just, I think we've all, I guess, mentioned that we've had discussions while we've been at the fair from the public, talking about it, if there was anything that we wanted to add to the data center ordinance that we currently haven't talked to Colin about. I know he's continually updating it based on our discussions before, that this would be a good time to, I guess, remind you just that, hey, if there's something that really felt strong that you wanted it in the ordinance, to make sure you get it to Colin and add that.
When you look at the county considerations checklist that base camp set out, that person forwarded it. I think that we've hit all of these. Has anybody had, plans for power and substation upgrades, evaluate water, all of those things, I think we've addressed. Has anybody, when they looked at this, see a deficiency in ours?
Yeah, I think we've either addressed them or we can address them in our permit.
Right.
I've been working on all that too, and it's like 60-some pages at this point, but maybe it needs to be.
We've defined
The
noise.
permitting
lighting,
process?
That's zoning.
And the permitting can almost be just as in depth or more in depth than the board.
Doesn't our zoning require traffic routing and construction
an
management
expedite.
plans?
I do an expedite for
Pretty solid.
get it out as quick as we can. If there are people looking, they're probably gonna wanna know what we got there. If we're not ready to, the ordinance. Hold that for a little bit, I don't think we'll hold it too long, but we can. See what I'm saying?
Did you agree with this checklist, hitting the points of our?
Yeah, I think, between the other counties that we looked at, and some of the other research done, and what Steph worked with us on, and what Colin's dug up on his own, I think we've been nailing pretty much all that stuff on there. That's why ISAC asked Mary and us to be, or Mary and I to be on that.
Where are you and Barry on?
Well, that right base camp page for the data center stuff, where the narrators are already, whatever the hell they are. Keep people from fighting.
Okay. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Actually, it's been very,
Okay.
very good comments on there. Everybody's interested in doing something productive for their county. Whether, it's protecting their, obviously it's for protecting their counties mostly, but also, none of us are fooled by the point that 2% growth is not gonna cover the bills around here. We're gonna have to cut some bills, or completely, probably. Other things, you can't afford to cut. So we're gonna find growth. This is something that'll help growth, you gotta analyze the hell out of it. It's bothers some people, obviously. There's people that are worked up, scared about it.
It's kind of been surprising to me that it's been more on a national level, that some national news has come out. And I think I saw a poll that they said that 70% of all people do not want a data center in their community.
And if you ask
And
that, 99% of them have really no idea what the hell data center is. That's been my experience. When I've got calls or people stop me, and I'm no data center expert,
Right.
But when I start telling them about some of the things that they're missing in their points that they're talking to me about, and that a lot of their fears are from data centers that were built clear back in the 90s. And they're just dragging some of the people that are dead set against them or pulling that stuff forward. And I'm not even able to figure what you'd be dead set against, other than I do worry about the electricity and the water, the same as everybody else.
And the noise.
But that's the air cooled one. So, I mean, I have not been around a water cooled or plate cooled data center that is remotely noisy. I mean, you can't hear the ones over by in Altoona over the highway. So do we stop trucking on the highway because that's too noisy? Or cars, you know, like that. I mean, my point is, you know, there's so much more to it than most people understand once you start talking. I had somebody call me with matter now. We don't want that. I said, why? Well, then they started, I said, well, tell me how much noise they make, or tell me how much water they're using. And I mean, when you can't tell me that, I think you're jumping to conclusions rather than being a logical deduction, you know, using logical deduction. I don't want any of the bad stuff. But when I'll kind of get ahead of myself here, my down at the conference, it was a big talking point. You know, it's a national issue. It's not national, it's global. It may be universal. Elon's talking about building in space for God's sake. So I mean, you know, so I mean, it's a big issue. But I mean, now they're actually talking about centers, you know, these data centers that actually use wastewater. So like, if it was down there at DMU, it just pull off whatever. However, these closed loops don't use that much, but if all their water they were using from loss from evaporation could pull it off the top of a lagoon, I mean, they're clean lagoons, obviously. I mean, there's that stages they got down there. You don't want to pull it off, stink into the sky, but you see what I'm saying? I mean, there's all kinds of different things that are coming out. I mean, in technology advancements, the new NVIDIA chip that uses way less electricity for AI. You know, so I mean, there's stuff that's happening. We just got to stay on the front edge. I mean, this board's, you know, as best we can. It's hard because that stuff changes like a computer. We were talking about that this morning. You know? It's changing. So I mean, we just got to research. But a lot of these counties that are doing it now are getting a lot of community benefit. I mean, that part probably was sitting down here towards the bottom of the page at one time, but community benefit is almost at the top of the page.
Is there
So
tax credits? Try not to interrupt you, but now that you're talking about that, are there tax credits?
You can have tax credits if you're trying to recruit, but if we're not trying to recruit, I don't think you need, to
Is
be
the
honest
state
with you.
doing anything like they did with wind turbines?
Please don't bring the state into this. We're trying to keep them.
The state is,
The sta-
state does have.
Yeah,
incentives.
so.
The state will have incentives, but that's, and as long as them incentives aren't on our back down here, like the tax credits are for the wind turbines,
That they are being capped.
that's what I, you know, that's.
When will we know if that's going to be part of it? Because as
It's a great question.
My thought on that is it'll be much like the UTV ordinance. Once the counties get it figured out, the state will swoop in and mess it all up.
And the only thing I think we can do, if you think about the pipeline, that's kind of my base model for what I'm doing here. That's why we've been pushing this ordinance thing, and now we're the permitting, is we at least want to get ahead of the state making a mess of it. And I'm not saying they will, I shouldn't even say it like that. But before the state starts doing their thing, if they see some, hey, you know what, Crawford County's got some great ideas here. I'm just using this for example. We're still working on our ideas. But Crawford County's got some great ideas down here. Let's incorporate that into what we're doing here. You know, because they've actually kind of got it figured out. They put a lot of extra work. I mean, there's, you know, Lynn County, some of these others that have put a lot of work into theirs already too. So if the state sees that, hopefully they'll bring that to the table instead of like with the wind turbines, they designed it all on their own without talking to anybody. You know, something else we were doing, and this kind of ties, is we were talking about how with our Rural Action Caucus and our Ag Caucus, you know, all of our separate steering committees doing more. And it's been very effective over the past year, with like where I did the fly-in back in November. You guys all remember that. That was very effective in helping with a lot of the stuff that's coming in the Senate side of the farm. Very effective. And so if we start doing that at the state level, where ISAC is basically pulling, you know, trying to get people of us. The problem is when the committees are going to have a meeting, you might have 24 or 48 hour notice down in Des Moines. So, you know, when we know they're working on some things, and if ISAC's there every day, like what Andrea's planning, I mean, she might be able to say, hey, Kyle, you know what? You're really keeping up on this. Can you make sure that you've got a window open in the next 5 days or the next week? I might need you down in Des Moines to brief a committee on what you guys are doing in Crawford. You see what I'm getting at? So then we have our input from the county level, so they're not making up all these rules that we're just stuck being applied to. You know, I mean, they're starting to do stuff logically and practically, so it works for their side of the legislative and our legislative process. So, I mean, that's kind of stuff.
Yeah, Gene?
When you said that, then it brought me back to Kyle bringing up that they now decided not to pay for mental health transportation. Just boom.
Yep.
So we all spend all of this time getting a great plan, and without any notice, we have things like that happen to us. And so we might think we have a great plan, and down the road, they may pop something on us.
But we still got to function though.
I know,
We
I
got
get
to
it,
function
I
as
get
our
it, I
government.
get it,
I
I
can't
get it.
control them.
I know,
We can only
yeah.
control what we can control. So if we've got that, and if we don't, you can't take that, and I'm not saying that was your implication, but if you take the attitude that, well, the state's gonna just screw it up. so
I
what's
said
the
that
difference?
out loud.
We gotta
You know?
step out with a full 30-inch step.
Yeah, yep, there you go. Step up, you swing in your full 30. You're talking military, Terry Cotter, just anyway, you know, you got to do your part. And then hopefully that influences the upper high, you know, when it goes up.
It might start.
It may not, you know, but we did our best for our folks and we won't quit fighting. That's what we're getting good at doing. Hell, they're really making us good at that part. So I think that's what we do, is we just keep marching on what we're doing.
I mean, we have to have the discussion, I guess, with Paul. I think, how do they assess the value of the data centers? You've got the building and you've got the land, and then you have everything inside. How do we value the computers, the cooling systems, all those things? Is it based on a square footage that we do it all the
I don't know
same?
if some of
Or
that
if it's-
stuff might be already in the state where we can't even assess that.
Right, that's what I heard
And especially the
recently.
temporary ones, we don't want anything.
I will tell you what some of the counties are doing when I'm hearing from across the country. They are actually, there's a fee on data transmission. I mean, and these people, they know what they can afford. And like, you know, so some of this we might, like when we're working with stuff on the electric, you know, sometimes you might have to work with these data centers, you know. And, you know, we've got to trust but verify that they're shooting straight with us. And if you start getting that suspicion, that permit gets real hard to sign. You see what I'm saying? That's why the 5 of us have got to do the best we possibly can to keep ourselves in the loop.
Like Kyle said, would that be like similar to a severance tax where we do pay them for the, and can that be changed once we have that in place?
Well, why would we want to? But once again, we don't know what the state's going to do to us. But if we've got a good plan that works, I mean, I don't care who wins the election. It doesn't matter. If we're electing the right people that are going up to Des Moines with logic and wanting to serve the folks, they're all the same people are voting for both sides, for here and there. You know, so if they're wanting to serve the folks, and that's what we are, and we figured out a good way to help improve Crawford County, and we could pass that over to Monona County, because Monona County's already, you know, I've already been asked about, hey, when you guys get your stuff done, could you send it over our way? So, well, close, but we're still working on it. Okay, but they see, so that other counties around us are wanting some help too. But then that'll help them. So maybe the states say, hey, you know, the county's got a good handle on this. Let's just kind of echo what they're doing and make a few improvements from the state level, you know. They got to get theirs too, I suspect, you know. So you got to take that into consideration as we're making our stuff. But I don't know how to foresee what the hell the state's going to do. They don't know what they're going to do. Hell, we don't. We're still trying to figure out what we're going to do.
Anybody else have any input? I guess we got to come from the public, or?
Yeah, I do. Mr. Rosberg and I talked about this one night, and I'm actually a little bit hesitant about any of the politicians, including you guys, in fact. I don't trust anybody, and it should be that way. I always ask the questions. With what you're talking about, the other side, let's go with this. There's proven statistics that where there's a data center in an agricultural place, that they haven't had live births in over 2 years on cattle and livestock.
They haven't had what?
Live births.
Like,
There's been some facts out there that people with pacemakers around these data centers, since they emulate or put out so much electricity, that it affects their pacemaker. They put them in AFib. And when you start adding some of this stuff up like that, my question is, we can talk about the water thing all you want to, and then you went to the closed loop system. Well, I'm good with that. Yes, it uses a lot of water. Yes, it's an old technology. With that being said, most of them old technologies, they were dumping that water right down the pipe and going right into the river. In my fact, if you want to put a data someplace, the perfect place to put it, in my opinion, is in Harrison County, where they got the missile silos, and they're already overabundant with bad water. But with that also being said, now we go with the closed loop system like Mr. Rosberg was talking about, and there's this little chemical called PFAS. This PFAS is not a very good chemical at all. It's like what farmers are putting on their crops, as a matter of fact. A synthetic chemical that they call forever. It doesn't break down whatsoever. So I've lived here 31 years, raised 4 kids. Most of you already probably know one of them. And to keep this generation moving and here another 175 years, the one thing I know none of us have on our phone, and we all have smartphones, is a water app. And that's the most precious commodity that we have. And I don't see how we're going to get away from polluting the water even more so if we continue it. Because even with the closed system, they change it out, they say every 2 years. They told us all kinds of wonderful things about windmills, just like what you said. Once again, it was all wonderful BS. Great salesmanship, I should say it that way. Now, with all this said, you talk about the state, how you don't want to get the state involved, you don't want to get the state involved, you want to lead the way. With that being said, right now, there's between 12 and 14 states have actually put a ban, a moratorium, a hiatus, temporarily on any data centers whatsoever. There's even towns, San Marcos, Texas, that banned it altogether forever. Now, if these places are doing that, is it a combination of what they foresee? Is it the people, like you said? 70% of the people are kind of not really cool with this deal. I don't like it because we live in the western half of the Iowa where our cancer rate is growing faster than our population. Then with all that being said, we move on to the electricity. Yeah, Steph would try and pull this, hey, let's do this. This is the great bet thing. 501c needs to make a profit no matter what, even if they are non-profit. And for me, to pull my electricity out of the Dakotas to supply this, that doesn't add up. My math don't add up on that. That ain't mathing for me. Because somebody's going to be paying the price at the end of that. And that's going to be the consumer. It's also been proven that your electricity doesn't go down after a data center comes in. And as I told you, they've also talked about, there's been people who said, you want to make the national debt go down? How about we make, if you're going to do this, make the data centers pay what they need to pay 5 or 10 times the amount. And I can guarantee you that the national debt, if there's 33 data centers already, there's 66 in the works. You can go to Brockovich data centers and look at all kinds of reports. I understand that you guys have a tough job and we voted you to do this tough job. But at the same time, I'm a little disappointed with all the people. They're all keyboard warriors don't want to come in and say anything about this or do their homework or do their research. Because even as I just spoke to you guys here, I don't know if you knew this information. I'm gonna guess mostly not, because just the looks on your faces. So it goes back to, you want your grandkids to be here, your great grandkids. I got great grandparents that came from Germany, buried in these cemeteries up here. I'd like to continue living here without the fear of any more kind of cancer related issues. Now, I understand that the state has done a lovely job of taking some money. That part of that whole shell game for property tax is a shell game. They can wheel it around any way they want to. I would be more apt to go with the prison system if they're gonna incorporate that. Hell, even a nuclear power plant, because as you said, to get any data out of these folks, Google's the one that's actually given the most data out of what kind of numbers are coming out of this. But there's a gentleman with that he's trying to produce little, basically nuclear power plants, which, makes more sense to get the power right at your own system than it does from the Dakotas. So when you start adding this up, I hope that when you guys go ahead and have to make these hard decisions, and I know that you and I have talked about this, and I know for the most part, hell, I've known Kyle for as long as I've lived here. And, it is a tough situation to have to come up and figure out and try, because you guys might actually have to cut jobs to keep going because of the so-called property tax thing. I think we just have to put our heads down and the state isn't gonna let us be the leaders and yay-hoo, look at what they're doing. I mean, Winona County's already getting all kinds of static over this, but people are not happy about it at all, because what else happens is there's a bunch of NDAs that come in between the companies and the boards of supervisors. And everybody is shocked when it does happen. Well, what happened? Oh, we got NDAs you can't talk about. And that entailed a whole lot of good money for the county, but bad money for the constituents. So please remember all of those things. I can probably do some more research and bring you more data, and I'm not trying to rain on your parade and all that.
I'm trying to make an ordinance.
Well, and that's the part that you and I talked about that. That means the county's open for business. There is no laws on the federal books, the state books, anywhere yet. That's why there's a lot of moratoriums and on these subjects. That's why these companies are coming in and doing basically what they're wanting to. They're pouring it down the drain and it goes right out to the river, whether it's a closed or open loop, because that's what they're doing even with the closed loop system. They're pouring them down the drain. I'm amazed when you talk about the DMU and having that stuff, because there's other stuff. If you look at the city of La Crosse and Madison in Wisconsin, they've got the biodigesters and using methane gas to run hospitals. And yet, when you talk about that to the people here, they got that same look on their face as what they talk about a data center, but yet nobody wants to do it. And we blow off natural gas off of everything. Even DMU blows it off and puts it up in the air as fire. And yet we can't figure out, being in the 2026, we can't figure out in this country with all the smart people we got. It came up to me recently, funny, I don't like doing this because it's kind of cliche. 4 years ago, there was a movie. Some chick was running around killing robots, fighting data centers over Skynet. And this is where we're at today. Not that that would happen, but it's getting ironically close. So,
We appreciate your comments. We usually try to keep them to around 5 minutes.
I'm sorry about that. I was trying
No, but since you're the only one here, I didn't see any problem of letting it go any longer. I just wanted to know if there was anybody else, I guess, out in Zoom land that wanted to have any comments, or we've got Dan here too, if anybody here wanted to say anything.
Yeah, I guess it's something with, in this country, it seems like sometimes we do things that we, on a large scale, are desirable things. It's wind turbines or whatever, we have incentives to do them. And then a lot of times there will be negative effects, which is why then local governments like this, like I mean, do an ordinance to mitigate those negative effects. So, I mean, I would assume in this case that the ordinance deals with the things that people are concerned about, right? I mean, so we're going to deal with water concerns. We don't want water dumping out into a, you know, we don't want contaminated water dumping into a river. So does the ordinance deal with that? You don't want noise that's driving people out of their homes. Does the ordinance deal with that? We don't want people's utility rates to skyrocket because this thing gets located nearby. Does the ordinance deal with that? In general, you know, will somebody like this cause pollution? You know, of other kinds other than just water. Does the ordinance deal with that? I guess those would be the questions that I would have. That if there's an ordinance written, it should make, you know, if something were to come here, it should make it, you know, entirely palatable for citizens of the county. Right?
And our ordinance deals with every one of those specific issues.
Okay.
But kind of using this as a model of future ordinances, every ordinance should address all those concerns regardless if it's a data center, wind turbine, or whatever. The health and well-being of the county needs to be top priority. If we can, somebody can come in and say we can meet all that. Us as a board, I mean, we're gonna meet opposition regardless. But if somebody can come and meet all those requirements that are established in the ordinance and the permitting process, we probably should take a look at it. But if they don't, then you better go back to work, sharpen your pencil. We're not ready for that property.
That's why they put a moratorium on this stuff.
Yeah.
And you know what, but where do you cap that moratorium? You know, people are saying, they're saying 6 months. You said, somebody said a forever moratorium.
San Marcos, Texas.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's just somebody running a pack. And I'm not neither pro nor anti pipelines, data centers, anything. I am trying to do the best that I can as this member of this board to try to figure out the best way forward for Crawford County. The health and stuff. We can't afford to research that. But that's a great point. The state should be doing it. I mean, I was reading some cancer study stuff this morning. I've had cancer, you know, while I've been on this board. I know this board didn't cause it. It caused a few other things, but it didn't cause cancer. But I mean, yes, them are the things the state should be helping us with. I wholeheartedly. We should have our state college helping us with that. I mean, Iowa State, that's our research college. They get grant, they're the grant college. They should be digging into that as deep as they can go. And I'm not gonna tell you that they're not, because I haven't asked. You know, I mean, it's a great point. It's stuff that we have thought about. I mean, this board's talked about that stuff, either whether it was individual one-on-one, hey, should we get something in there on this? I don't know how we can control cancer, because right now, to me, the biggest fault we have in the cancer thing is cause and effect. We're not digging into the cause of it. And that's what, I mean, cancer is a kind of a mysterious son of a gun anyway. But definitely something we should dig into more, because we're one of the worst states in the union. I don't know, I seen that map where our state, other than a little notch down at the bottom, where there's nothing but cows, you know, we're black. I mean, that was all blacked out, you know, in states around us. You know, I mean, so it was pretty much through the grain belt. So, I mean, I think that's why they try to blame the farmers, but our farmers got a lower cancer rate than the people who live in town. What's that? I mean, that's what I'm saying, cause and effect. Why are they different? You know, so them are some of the things that I'm curious about. And them are great points.
And we're happy, we weren't looking shocked because we hadn't thought about it. We're glad somebody else is talking about it.
That's what disappoints me, and I said this to you guys the last time I was up here. For something as big as it is, it's disturbing that this dumb kid is the only one up here wanting to talk about this with you guys. You know, 45 to 61-year-old people are moving out the fastest rate ever out of Iowa. This isn't gonna help. You know, we talked about if there is that bad water and it goes through all the way through the system, the corn, the cows and everything else. It's just a big circle that can continue. And you're right. I don't look at it quite as like you as the cancer thing. I think they do have they have an idea with a cancer deal, but they don't make any money if they cure it.
Well, it's a good point.
Don't think we,
A lot of money to make.
a lot of cancer like.
We are a reactive state instead of a proactive, and I've always tried to be proactive.
I think the board's doing their best to be proactive.
Yeah, and like I said, you guys got a tough job, and we all voted for you guys to do that tough job. I don't want no part of it. That's why I sit on this side of it. So I commend you for doing that part. And even like Mr. Maubauer, I commend him for doing what he's doing. The biggest thing I'd like to see now is making 92-year-olds go home from the state capitol and for the federal level or wherever they're at. And somebody quit telling me that everybody's fine up there if they're that old. Because I'm just saying that I think all of us, we should have lived our lives backwards instead of going from the baby up to the grave, because it doesn't make any sense to me. But, you know, I appreciate you guys' time. I'm sorry I went over. I tried to make it just a 5-minute deal, but this is something that is pretty vital.
Absolute valid points, and as I look through our ordinance as many times as we've discussed it and tried to hit the bullet points of what we needed to protect, it's a new animal out there for us, and like we talked about, I do fear that we'll have this out exactly the way that we think it should be to protect our community, and the state will not respect all the thought that we put into it and still go in there and if they trump us. And so here we go, that we have what we want and then it gets disrupted by, and so we're doing our best. We table it, we discuss it, we try to make changes to it, we go do more research, and all of the information that you've given to me and this board, I will go home and try to duplicate that and find it and be able to use that in all of the decisions that we as a group try to do as best. Our thought process, I think, is that we don't want to just shut the door on it until we're sure that that's exactly what we need to do. You know, and that's easy to do with the moratorium. We talked about doing a moratorium, but we just need to make sure that that's the exact right thing to do.
It's just like we said, though, that's what the state's that's what the people are waiting for, is the state to actually do something, the federal government to just actually do something. But then they want to see what the counties and the cities or whatever are gonna do, and then go in there and tweak it. And more likely make it worse, because, you know,
More likely.
wonderful quote. The people are waiting for the government to help when it's the government's fault.
Right.
You know, so.
Sarah thought government's here to help.
You know.
Well, I have to tell you, you know, on top of all this, I mean, we're working on this, but we're also working on 1,000 other things. I mean, this is the jack of all trades board here. And I mean, as far as the state goes, I mean, you brought up that, you know, the state ain't listening. Nobody's talking, just like you just brought up about nobody shows up here. So we assume we're doing right. You know, I mean, we talked to a lot of you, like you and I have talked, we talked how many hours at the Pop-Tarts Park.
I know.
I wonder where you two hooked up.
And it was actually about property taxing, and I actually asked him what was his concise, how are you gonna make up for this money? Because in my personal opinion, leave the money alone, because you guys got a tough enough job trying to put the budget together as it is with what you got. But no, everybody thinks they got a newer, bigger, better, faster plan. Everybody can build a better mousetrap next week. Like I said, I'm just a simpleton in this game. And
That's one of the key things that we're working on here. I mean, just like we're not drawing a big crowd here. And I mean, for my almost 6 years here, we've only had a big crowd a couple times. There was more big crowds when I was sitting on that side of the banister for a year. Remember that? You know, I mean, so I don't, we're trying to make it to where the counties are more engaged with the state. And that's on an ISAC, our state association. But that will be us bringing county government there. We still need the people to show up there. And they do it if they get really angry. Pipeline people showed up. Look what that did. I mean, it got their attention and it made some movement. May not be the perfect solution, but we didn't have a perfect system to start with, you know, so maybe we'll just keep improving that, maybe, but I'm hoping, you know, you hope for the best. We're planning for worst here, you know, I mean, so that's really, there's more going on than you think. I mean, because we are trying to get a bigger voice in Des Moines to where we work better together. Because that's the unity factor is the biggest problem, communication. I mean, a marriage don't work without communication, and government, the exchange between one level of government and the other, our communication levels, I mean, we just sit down here and get mad, and that ain't gonna do us any good. So we gotta start figuring out ways to get their attention. And so we're working on that right now.
there was, if you guys recall, the Keystone Pipeline wanted to do their deal, if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Less than a month ago, they had a little leak down in Kansas, costing $27 million. You think they really cared? No, who cared? The reactive people that all that oil went all over their property. You know, so that's the problem is that, as I said, we're always reactive and not proactive, and I want to make sure we're proactive in this regards. Because this is not something that we can screw up. Because our kids and our grandkids and not their grandkids, 60% of our bodies are made up of water. We can live without food for a while, we cannot live without water.
We're in all.
Hard to unscrew stuff on.
Yeah, just thinking back. I guess I'll ask again if there's anybody out in Zoom land that had any comments they'd like to make. Not hearing anybody else on the board want to
Just thinking, you know, my great-great-grandfather was a county supervisor before there was cars in this county. So you think about, this board has made some, you know, they always try. And I'm sure these discussions were, are we gonna allow automobiles to drive them down our street? And the opposition, I'm sure, was there.
how are they going to ruin the county roads?
Yeah.
With the speed they go versus the horse and buggy.
So I think this, I mean, if this table's been the original one, I don't know if it has.
It could talk.
It could talk, but the conversations kind of probably stay the same. It's just the subject matter.
It's evolved.
It is evolved.
Yeah,
And it don't evolve without people bringing stuff to our attention though either, but.
You're just 5 people, you need everybody's help.
Much info we get. We welcome all, I've said it 100 times, all of our people that sit up here and are, you know, watchdogs. I appreciate every bit of information they bring, because that makes me think about stuff that I like next.
Well, you and I talked about that. One thing I will say is, and I don't know how, maybe we can get some input from these folks up here. I've tried to do your Zoom, and the people sitting back here on this side, you can't hardly, when Steph sat back here somewhere, I couldn't hardly hear her whatsoever. That's why I spoke a little bit louder, so I could maybe get into the boom mic. So I don't know if they can hear from the back row, or even from this row, it made it more difficult. I don't know if anyone's ever said anything about that.
No.
See, once again, you guys do a tough job, but I'm a better pit bull than I am a supervisor.
We appreciate you.
You know,
I appreciate you speaking up. I can hear you on Zoom loud and clear.
All right, Dave.
Thank you.
That was something I was thinking about actually at this last NACO. You know, when they do presentations, like I was thinking if Steph could give us on how the electrics, she's given me a system. You were talking about our power coming from South Dakota, or, you know, DMU gets theirs from like the Missouri River. I don't go with all these things. It's all so different, complex, and quite frankly confusing if it's not part of you're not in the system. So if you don't know, I've actually thought about having her come in and give a presentation on how our electric grid works, because that will just
I can tell you this,
confound you.
80% of our water, or 80% of our power comes from coal, a mix of coal and wind. 20% only comes from water. I don't know if I believe that, because I know up in the Dakotas, most of it comes from the Ojai, because they're always given, I think you even took one, didn't you?
No, I never did, but they always.
They're even giving tours of that. So 20% actually comes from that, and they break it up to two different. The biggest one is, one of them's Basin Water, and they're the wholesaler for 20%. NIPCO gets there, that's where NIPCO gets the electricity from that WIPCO gets. They're also another wholesaler. So we're getting two wholesalers, and I don't want to say this bad about WIPCO, but I think they're upset that they missed out on Anderson, because Anderson's power actually comes from Harrison County. Yeah, this makes sense to me. Cliff, there's another something that no one knows.
Oh, we do.
Who buys their power from WIPCO, so, or NIPCO? NIPCO feeds
I
WIPCO.
think that one actually Harrison comes from Missouri River Basin. So,
I'm
Well,
you're all ready to use it. But I mean, I was thinking about asking her to do that, to give a presentation, just so everybody understands that a little bit, because this data center thing's brought up a lot about
there's
that.
88 power cooperatives in the state of Iowa. To me, that doesn't make any sense. There's like 6 or 8 of them here on this western side. To me, wouldn't it make sense if we just consolidated them all so we can get a little bit better one? Isn't it the cooperative supposed to be for the people instead of a 501c? And when I found out they were a 501c, I was thinking, God, I had to do more research. Are they paying property tax? Because 501c's don't pay property tax. But they are supposedly. Guess what else? They don't pay federal income tax. And the reason I started this was because the hospital pisses me off. Because they're a 501c since 2001. If I have to pay full price for something that's a community deal, I get upset about it. And I know that's not your circus, and not your monkeys, as it was explained to me. And I look at it this way, they get some of their money from the county.
They tax.
They get money from taxpayers, actually.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother piece, so.
Yeah.
But like, that was going back to the presentation, so that everybody gets there to hear, you know, even at, then now this one here, I think everybody can hear in the room unless somebody's really soft spoken. And there are people, especially some of the ladies that speak in the back, they're hard to hear. Steph might be one of them. But, you know, if we had a mic that we passed around or something, I mean, obviously we incur some expense, but maybe these are some of the things that we need to think about.
Right.
But,
Get one to hang from the
Do I have a
top.
microphone laying
Just a
around?
mic up front here on
well, we
this.
could probably do another owl type system towards the back of the board. I mean, it wouldn't be the camera.
I've seen a lot of
but-
board meetings where there's a podium and if you want to speak, you
Yeah,
exactly.
that's probably a good idea.
Yep, so that's what I was,
Something
that's why I brought, circled back to that.
We certainly
That's a
can,
good one.
I think,
Anything else?
I'm good.
If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
make a motion we adjourn.
Second?
Geez, motion and a second by Kyle. Let's flip a coin for it.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Chair votes aye. We stand adjourned.